You ever wonder why the loud ones never last, huh? Why the ones always barking, always talking, always spilling their thoughts into every room they walk into? Why they're the first ones to fall when the storm hits? Let me tell you something, kid. Silence. It ain't just a mood. It's a damn weapon. And if you don't learn how to master it, this world's gonna eat you alive, spit you out, and laugh while you're bleeding in the dirt. People think silence means weakness. They think if you ain't clapping back, you're scared. If you're quiet, you must be broken. But see, that's what makes them blind. Silence ain't fear, it's focus. It ain't surrender, it's calculation. The ones who say nothing are the ones building something. Waiting. And when they strike, oh, it's clean. It's surgical. No mess, no noise, just results. Deadly ones. You've been hurt, haven't you? Yeah, I can see it. Betrayed, lied to, maybe even laughed at. And your first instinct? You want to scream. You want to expose them. Let the world know what they did to you. Make noise. Shout until someone listens. But let me stop you right there. You don't owe them your voice. You don't owe them your pain. You don't owe them your truth. Not yet. Because the more you talk, the more power you hand them. The more you explain yourself, the more they twist it. Silence? That's where your real strength grows. You sit in that darkness. You bleed quietly. You let it all break you in private. And then, you rise in silence. No announcements, no warnings. You just show up different. And they choke on it. Let me break it down for you. When you speak, you reveal. Every damn word you say gives them insight into your mind, your heart, your fears, your plans. You think you're venting. You think you're just being real. But to them, you're handing out your blueprint. And trust me, people don't want to understand you. They want to use you. They want to know just enough to exploit you, twist your emotions, poke your insecurities, manipulate your reactions. So why give them a single sound? Why let them read your script when you can make them guess every damn scene? The silent ones? They're the ghosts that haunt every fake friend, every traitor, every loud mouth that thought they had you figured out. You disappear, and they start to panic. You stop explaining and they start to question everything. You vanish, and suddenly your absence is louder than any scream. They thought your silence meant you lost. They thought you gave up. But what they didn't know was that you were rebuilding in the dark. You were calculating, training, cutting people off in your mind before you ever moved in the real world. You were observing. Learning patterns, not just about them, but about you. That's what silence gives you. Clarity, time, space to dissect your pain without performing it for an audience. You don't heal by talking about your scars every damn day. You heal when you stop picking at the wound and start stitching it shut in private, quietly, silently. And when the stitch is done, you don't show it off. You use it as a warning. People forget, silence is the most honest response. You don't need to defend yourself to anyone who already decided to misunderstand you. You don't need to beg someone to see your worth. If they needed noise to notice you, they were never listening in the first place. So stop performing. Stop explaining. Stop talking. Let them assume. Let them create their little theories. Let them drown in their own imagination. You just keep building in the shadows. Because that moment you walk back into the light, oh, they won't even recognize you. And they'll pretend they always believed in you. But you'll know. Deep down, you'll know who watched you break and stayed silent. And That's why you won't need revenge. You'll already won. You'll be 10 steps ahead, and they'll still be stuck asking each other what happened to you. Stay quiet, but never weak. Be calm, but never passive. Observe more, speak less. Let your silence starve the ones who thrived on your energy. Be unpredictable. Move like smoke. No trace, no warning. And when they ask what happened to you, don't answer. Just smile. The realest revenge, it's not loud. It's not violent. It's not chaotic. It's silent, clean, cold, like a ghost with unfinished business. Now, you ready to become that ghost? Or you still think words are your best weapon? They don't teach you this in school, or in those sugar-coated books filled with fantasy about healing and love and trust. They teach you to communicate, to be open, to be vulnerable. But they don't teach you when to shut the hell up, when to step back, when to retreat into your own world and lock the damn door. Because silence, real silence, the kind that comes after chaos, after betrayal, after heartbreak, that's the most powerful stage of your life. That's where monsters are made. That's where warriors are carved. You don't become unstoppable by screaming your story to the world. You become unstoppable by learning how to walk through hell with zipped lips and a mind sharper than every knife that cut you. You stop reacting. You stop answering. You stop defending. You observe. You plan. You level up quietly. They'll mock your silence at first. They'll call it weakness. They'll say you disappeared, that you gave up. Let them. That's part of the illusion. That's how you set the trap. You let them believe you're gone until you're not, until you show up with a version of you they never expected. A version they can't manipulate, can't lie to, can't hurt. Because the silent man, he saw everything. He remembered everything. He just stopped saying anything. You ever sat in a room full of people and felt like a ghost? Not because they ignored you, but because you saw them for what they really were. And suddenly, their words stopped meaning anything. That's the first stage of power, when noise becomes empty and silence becomes comfortable. When the chatter feels cheap, but your own stillness feels rich. When their drama feels like background noise, and your peace becomes non-negotiable. That's the moment you start to separate yourself. That's the rebirth. But it hurts, doesn't it? That silence. It ain't sweet at first. It's brutal. Because you've got nowhere to throw your pain. No one to hand it to. You start realizing that the world wasn't built to catch you when you fall. It was built to applaud when you hit the ground. And that's when your silence becomes your armor. Because now, it's not just silence. It's detachment. It's protection. It's control. You decide who hears you, who gets to see your scars, who earns your voice. And let me tell you, very few people do. You keep thinking you owe explanations to people who didn't even have the decency to check if you were okay. You think silence needs to be justified. It doesn't. You don't owe them closure. You don't owe them a last word, a text, a phone call, a damn thing. Let them sit in the silence they created. Let them wonder if you're okay. Let them feel the absence of the version of you they took for granted. You think revenge is shouting back. Nah, the real revenge? It's making them irrelevant. It's making them talk to a wall of silence, knowing they'll never get access to you again. You want to win? Don't block them. Ignore them. Don't curse them. Outgrow them. And do it all without saying a single word. That's what they never expect. They prepare for a war. You give them a disappearance. They sharpen their swords. You stop showing up. And that drives them mad. You ever seen someone start falling apart when you stop reacting to their chaos? That's the silent kill. You pull your energy back, and their whole identity starts to crumble. Because some people only know how to survive off the attention you gave them. When you go quiet, they start screaming into the void, hoping you'll come back just to fight. Don't let them scream. Let them choke on your silence. Let them destroy themselves, trying to figure out why the puppet stopped dancing. You're done performing. You're done explaining. You're done giving. From now on, you move different. You walk in rooms with your energy wrapped in armor. You let your silence speak for you. And when they ask, "What's wrong with you?" you don't answer. Not because you can't, but because they ain't earned the privilege of your voice anymore. You need to understand something deep, real deep. Your silence isn't just about shutting your mouth. It's about knowing your worth. You don't explain loyalty to snakes. You don't justify your heart to cowards. You don't bleed in front of people who laugh at the sight of it. Let them think you've changed. Let them gossip. Let them label you cold, distant, arrogant, heartless, good. Let them. Because the man you're becoming, he doesn't need their approval. He needs results, peace, power, and none of that lives in noise. The real ones, they never had to shout. They just moved. They just disappeared. Then came back as kings, legends, ghosts of their old selves. That's the path you're on now. So stop whispering to people who stopped listening a long time ago. Let your silence finish what your loyalty started. You still here? Good. Because the next part's even colder. Now here's the part that stinks, but you need to hear it straight. Most of them only stayed because you kept explaining yourself. You kept softening your tone, kept justifying your heart, kept proving your intentions, like your soul was on trial. You begged to be understood by people who were committed to misunderstanding you. That's the trap. That's the sickness, trying to force truth into the ears of liars. You thought, if you just said the right thing, acted the right way, opened up more, they'd get it. But no. All you did was teach them how to hurt you better next time. You spoke from your scars, and they took notes. You showed them your blueprint, and they used it to break you. And when you finally broke, they acted like they didn't know why. That's why silence is survival. That's why silence is sacred. You stop giving them ammo. You stop handing them pieces of yourself to rip apart. You stop performing like your soul's on a stage for people who clap for your pain and vanish during your healing. Silence isn't just about not speaking. It's about refusing to be dissected. And I know it feels unnatural. You want to scream your side of the story. You want to let it out. But here's the ugly truth. They ain't listening. They're just waiting to twist it. You ever notice how they only hear the parts that help their narrative? How they act confused when you explain for the 100th time? It ain't that they don't understand. It's that they don't want to. Because if they understand, they'd have to admit they were wrong. They'd have to face the reflection you force them to see. And people don't like mirrors when they're the monster in it. So they pretend you're the problem. They flip the blame. They call you dramatic, sensitive, toxic, all because you finally stood up and shut up. So good. Let them call you names. Let them label the silence. Because every time they do, they reveal what they fear the most, the version of you they can no longer control. Silence changes you. It rewires your brain. At first it hurts. You'll feel hollow. You'll replay everything in your head over and over again, wishing you had one last conversation to make it right. But over time, the craving dies. You start to see how pointless it was. You realize that most conversations aren't for healing, they're for ego. You wanted closure, but what you needed was distance. You wanted to be heard, but what you needed was peace. And silence gives you both. It's the fire that burns away the fake. It's the clarity that exposes the lies. You start seeing people for who they really are, not who they pretended to be. And you stop chasing apologies. You stop chasing love. You stop chasing explanations. You stop chasing. That's when you win. You ever seen the shift in someone's eyes when you stop reacting? That panic? That confusion? That's the silence working. You ain't fighting anymore, and they don't know what to do with that. They were feeding off your responses, off your emotional breakdowns, off your explanations. They were addicted to the version of you that bled in front of them. But now you don't bleed where they can see. Now you don't give them that satisfaction. You hurt quietly. You heal privately. You move secretly. And the more silent you become, the more they start to crumble. Not because you said anything, but because you said nothing. That nothing is heavy. It echoes. It haunts. Silence makes them remember every word they threw at you, every lie, every betrayal, because now they have no distraction from it. Just their guilt, eating them alive in the silence you left behind. You ever notice how loud silence gets when someone's guilty? It screams in their head. It chokes them. They thought you'd beg. They thought you'd break. But you just vanished. You let the silence carry your rage, your grief, your scars. And that silence, it's louder than revenge, louder than tears, louder than rage. You don't need to make a scene. You don't need to explain. You don't need to prove anything anymore. Because the version of you they played with, he's gone, dead, buried. What walks now is the silence. Cold, clean, calculated. And when they try to come back, when they knock on your door with fake apologies and sweet words, your silence will answer for you. No response, no closure, just absence. That's how you win. Quietly, completely, and without mercy. You ready to become that silence? Or you still think your words can fix what their actions already destroyed? You keep thinking silence is something soft, passive, weak. But that's because you've never truly used it. You've never weaponized it. See, most people, when they're silent, they're just biting their tongue, holding back tears, waiting for the right moment to finally explode. That ain't silence. That's a pause, a delay. The silence I'm talking about, it's final, it's deliberate. It's a funeral for the version of you that begged, pleaded, stayed loyal to snakes, explained your soul to cowards, and thought love would save you. This kind of silence isn't about self-control. It's about self-respect. You ain't shutting up because you're scared to speak. You're silent because there's nothing left to say. Because they heard you cry and they didn't flinch. Because you tried being soft and they called it weakness. Because you offered your heart and they turned it into leverage. And now you offer them nothing. Not a word, not a sigh, not a hint of what's going on inside you, just silence. cold, sharp, and eternal. You still don't get it, do you? Talking is a currency. Every time you speak, you spend a piece of yourself. Your thoughts, your energy, your focus, your clarity. So who are you spending it on? Huh? Who are you handing your currency to? People who never earned it? People who only show up when it benefits them? People who clapped when you were drowning and suddenly want front row seats when you float again? Nah. You speak to build, not to waste. You speak when it matters, and until then, you stay silent. You watch. You listen. You let them show you exactly who they are without giving them anything of who you are. That's how you survive. That's how you evolve. Every word you don't say becomes another brick in the wall they'll never climb again. You ever met someone who only respects you when you stop explaining? That's how you know who was really listening. You go silent, and the fake ones panic. They start fishing for drama, asking around, guessing, making up lies to fill the void you left. Because your silence exposes their noise. It shines a light on the nonsense they were hiding behind. They wanted access, not understanding. Control, not connection. But once you cut the cord, once you shut the gate, and don't even leave a note, they start realizing how loud your presence was, how heavy your silence is. And that's the twist. They mocked you when you were around, but now that you're quiet, now that you're gone, they can't stop talking about you. That's the real flex. You let them have the last word, but you stole the last thought. You haunted their head by saying absolutely nothing. You think being loud makes you remembered? Number. Being loud makes you predictable. It makes you readable, weak. You show your hand. You expose your cards. And trust me, they ain't playing fair. They're watching, recording, remembering everything you say so they can weaponize it later. You're out here bleeding truth, thinking it'll set you free. But the truth don't set you free in a world built on lies. It gets you crucified. So what do? You stop. You starve them. You go dark. No warnings, no breakdowns, no dramatic exits. Just silence. Let them choke on the questions they never cared to ask when you were still answering. Let them sit with the version of themselves that only existed when you were feeding them your light. And now that light is gone. They're left with their own shadows. And that's a punishment you don't need to speak to deliver. Let me tell you this. Every man who's ever truly risen, he learned the art of silence first. Kings don't scream. Legends don't explain. Ghosts don't beg to be seen. They become the silence. They move with it. They let their absence speak volumes. Their focus cut deeper than any words ever could. You want peace? Go silent. You want clarity? Go silent. You want power? Go silent. You're not running away. You're ascending. Away from the noise, the lies, the games. You're shedding the skin they use to recognize you. And when they see you again, they won't. Not really. Because the version of you they betrayed, doubted, laughed at, that version's dead. And this new one, he don't talk. He don't ask. He don't explain. He just moves. And when he moves, everything else falls silent. You see, silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's the death of access. It's the funeral for every bridge they burned, thinking you'd rebuild it anyway. It's you standing in the ashes of everything they took for granted and deciding, I'm done playing savior to people who drown themselves. It's brutal. It's cold. It's unforgiving. And it's the only thing they respect. Not your love, not your kindness, not your endless efforts to prove your loyalty. Number. They don't hear that. They only hear loss. When your silence walks in and your presence walks out, that's when they finally feel the price. Not when you screamed, not when you cried, not when you tried to explain your heart one last time. Number. That was just noise to them. But silence is the consequence. It's the result. It's the echo of everything they ignored, now haunting them in every empty moment they used to fill with your energy. That's when it hits them. That's when they realize you were the realest thing they ever had, and they let it slip through their fingers like it was replaceable. And here's the catch. People don't remember the noise. They remember the silence that followed it. That dead space where your voice used to live. That quiet void that no one else could fill because no one else was you. That's what keeps them up at night. Not your words, not your explanations. The fact that you stopped offering them, that you walked away without the drama, without the goodbye, without the closure they were sure they'd get from you. You see, when they hurt you, they thought they'd get another version of you tomorrow. That's how arrogant they were. But silence makes it real. It makes it final. And when that silence stretches into days, weeks, months, they realize you weren't bluffing. You weren't playing hard to get. You were gone. And suddenly, everything they laughed at becomes sacred. Every word you said echoes louder in your absence than it ever did in your presence. Let me tell you something that'll twist your stomach if you still got a heart left to feel with. Most people don't love you. They love the version of you that serves them. They love your yes, your energy, your attention, your willingness to explain, your softness. But the moment you pull back, the moment you say nothing, the love starts to rot. Because it was never love. It was consumption. They were feeding off you. And you kept feeding them because you thought they were worth starving for. You thought if you gave more, they'd finally see you. But silence taught you something that love never could. It taught you the difference between being seen and being used. And now, you've seen it, you can't unsee it. You can't go back to bleeding in front of people who flinch when they see red. You can't go back to explaining your soul to people who don't even listen when you say you're not okay. You ever notice how the people who once had constant access to you start throwing shade once you go quiet? That's fear. That's guilt. Wearing the mask of arrogance. They'll act like you're bitter, like you're petty, like you're overreacting. But deep down, they're scared. Because silence exposes everything. It makes people confront their own behavior without the cushion of your explanations. And some people ain't ready for that mirror. They liked the version of you that excused their mistakes, forgave too fast, explained too much. But this new version, this silent version, it's a mirror they can't look into because it reflects back every wrong they did without you saying a word. And they'll feel it in their sleep, in their silence. In every moment they reach for you and realize the line's dead. That's your revenge. No fire, no noise, just distance. And here's the darkest part of all this. Some of the people you love the most are gonna realize what they lost too late. Not when you leave, not when you go silent, but when they see you start to glow in your own solitude. When they see the peace that comes from no longer carrying their weight. When they realize your silence wasn't just an absence, It was a transformation. You didn't go quiet because you were broken. You went quiet because you were becoming. And when they come back, when they finally show up pretending to care, pretending they've changed, pretending they understand now, you won't even need to say no. You'll be so far removed, so elevated, that your silence will say it for you, and it'll be louder than any rejection you could have given with words. Let them hear the silence. Let them taste it. Let it echo in the void they created when they took your voice for granted. You think you're alone in that silence, don't you? Like nobody feels what you feel. Like nobody understands that rage building behind your stillness. But let me tell you, the strongest men I've ever seen, the most dangerous ones, were the ones who stopped speaking and started listening, not to others, but to themselves, to the voice inside that got drowned out by noise for too long. That voice, it's your guide now. That silence, it's your battleground. Don't run from it. Sit in it. Breathe it. Learn from it. And when the time comes, let your actions speak. Let your energy speak. Let your glow-up speak. But you stay silent. Because the loudest power is the one that never had to announce itself. And here's what breaks most people. They think silence is just a waiting room, a pause, a moment between explosions. They think eventually they'll go back to how it was, that maybe after some time the pain will ease and the words will return. But what they don't realize is that real silence isn't a timeout. It's a transformation. It changes your wiring. It changes your thresholds. You stop being hungry for the noise that used to feed you. You stop needing to be understood, to be validated, to be heard. You grow beyond it. And that growth, it's lonely. It's terrifying. Because when you stop talking, the only voice left is your own. And that voice, it's raw. It's honest. It doesn't let you hide. It forces you to face the truth. You allowed too much, gave too much, stayed too long, begged too hard. And there's no one left to blame. It's just you and the wreckage. But that's where the real power starts, in that wreckage. Because when you rebuild in silence, you don't rebuild for others. You rebuild for you. And that structure, that mindset, it doesn't include doors for the people who tore you down. You were addicted to explaining yourself, weren't you? Every conversation, every argument, every betrayal, you had to explain your side. You had to paint the picture, give the context, show them your heart. You thought if they saw how much you cared, they'd finally stop hurting you. But you were just putting a target on your back. See, you showed them where you cared, and they used it as a map to strike. You think silence is weakness? Nah. Explaining yourself to people who already made up their minds, that's weakness. That's desperation. That's self-betrayal. You were begging for understanding from people who were committed to misunderstanding you because it gave them control. They wanted you loud, reactive, emotional, because that meant they still mattered. But when you went silent, you stripped that power away. You stopped giving them a reflection of themselves. And without that mirror, they crumble. The world don't clap for silence, but it damn sure respects it. It listens to it. It studies it. Why do you think people panic when the quiet ones start moving? Because the loud ones talk about what they're gonna do. But the silent ones, they just do it. No previews, no updates, no drama, just results. You think silence is about being cold? It's about being calculated. You stop responding not because you don't feel anymore, but because you feel too much. And you've learned that not everyone deserves access to that depth. You stop showing your heart, not because it's gone, but because it's finally guarded. You stop defending yourself because you've realized the truth don't need defense. It stands alone, just like you. And it's funny, isn't it? How the same people who once told you to shut up now can't stop asking what's wrong. How the ones who said you were too sensitive now claim you're too distant. They weren't ready for the silent version of you. The version that doesn't entertain nonsense. The version that doesn't get pulled back into old games. The version that doesn't need to be seen to be dangerous. They wanted you emotional because emotions made you predictable. But now you're unpredictable. And that terrifies them. They can't provoke you anymore. They can't guilt you, bait you, or bend you because you're not there. You're not playing. You're not speaking. And when someone loses your voice, they realize just how loud your presence used to be. You gave them your words, and they didn't listen. So now, you give them silence, and let that echo through their hollow world. You let your absence speak. You let your stillness suffocate everything they thought they controlled. Because here's the truth, kid, your silence isn't the end of your story. It's the part where you start writing a new one without letting them hold the pen. You're not here to be loud anymore. You're here to be undeniable, quiet, focused, relentless. And when they finally look around and wonder what happened to you, the silence will answer. Not with pity, not with noise, but with distance. And that is louder than anything you could have ever said. Now here's the truth most people will never admit. The moment you stop speaking is the moment they start listening. But by then, it's too late. By then, your silence ain't an invitation. It's a sentence, a verdict, a wall they'll never climb again. You gave them time. You gave them clarity. You gave them the benefit of the doubt until it broke you. And now you give them nothing. Not out of hate, not out of spite, but because silence is the only language they truly understand. You're not trying to fix anything anymore. You're not trying to be seen or heard or rescued. You've accepted the truth. Not everyone who had a seat at your table deserved a plate. And your silence. That's you flipping the table. That's you saying, no more. And what's beautiful, what's poetic, is that you don't have to scream it. You don't have to explain it. You don't have to get closure. Your stillness becomes the closure. Your absence becomes the lesson. And whether they admit it or not, they'll feel it every day. You want to know when you become truly dangerous? When your peace is no longer negotiable. When you stop responding just because they want a reaction. When you stop showing up just because they remembered you exist. When you stop proving your worth and start living like it's already known. That's when you become a storm in silence. You think they're gonna applaud your growth? You think they'll clap when they see you finally healing without them? Hell no. They'll act confused. They'll try to drag you back into the noise. They'll say you've changed, that you're cold. But you know better. You're not cold. You're calm. You're not heartless. You just stopped handing your heart to people who played catch with it. You're not bitter. You're just awake now. You see the game. You see the masks. You see the manipulation. And instead of confronting it, you choose the most lethal move of all. Distance. There's a version of you that died the day you chose silence over chaos. That old you, The one who always explained, always reached out first, always forgave too fast. He's buried now, and the world might miss him, but you won't, because that version of you was constantly exhausted, constantly anxious, constantly pouring from a cup that was never full. That version of you was loved for the wrong reasons, because he was convenient, because he was accessible, because he made other people feel better about themselves. But this new version, this silent version, he don't play those roles anymore. He don't show up for applause. He don't seek validation. He moves for himself. And that movement, that solitude, it's not empty. It's earned. You'll see it in their eyes when you walk past them like they don't exist. That flicker of recognition, that moment of panic, because silence changes the way they see you. They used to see someone who'd never walk away, someone they could toy with, knowing you'd always come back to explain why they hurt you. But now they see a ghost, a shadow, a memory, and that memory is louder than your presence ever was. That's what silence gives you. Legacy. You become the one who walked away and never looked back. The one they talk about but can never reach. The one they try to decode, but the language no longer exists because you stopped speaking it. You evolved beyond it. And they're still trying to play chess while you've already left the board. They're not prepared for what you've become. They thought silence was retreat. They thought you crawled away to lick your wounds, to cry, to collapse. But what they don't know is that in that silence, you were studying. Not just them, but yourself. You were dissecting your habits, your trauma, your patterns. You were cutting away the weakness like rot from your own flesh. You were reshaping the way you think, the way you move, the way you see everything. Silence didn't make you smaller. It made you sharper, colder, wiser. And now you're not reacting. You're choosing. Every move is deliberate. Every word is calculated. Every presence in your life is earned. You don't hand out energy like it's free anymore. You don't waste breath on dead conversations. You don't argue with people committed to missing the point. You don't explain your worth to people too blind to see it. Because now, you know who you are, and that knowing, it came from silence, from stillness, from looking in the mirror and not running from what stared back. You're not a victim anymore. You're not a product of what they did. You're the architect of what comes next. And let me tell you something. They hate that. They hate that you didn't stay broken, that you didn't stay soft, that you didn't stay available, because your silence proved they were never necessary. And now, they'll do anything to get a reaction out of you, anything to feel important again. They'll talk about you, lie about you, try to provoke you. But you've outgrown the need to respond. You've outgrown the urge to defend yourself against people who already decided to misunderstand you. You let them say whatever helps them sleep at night. You let them scream into the void. You let them spiral. And while they do, you keep building. Quietly, strategically, alone. Because silence doesn't just protect your peace, it multiplies it. People always expect explosions. They think power is loud, angry, chaotic, but they forget. The deadliest storms come without warning. No thunder, no lightning, just wind, just destruction, just silence before everything changes. That's who you are now. A silent storm. They'll laugh until they choke. They'll mock until they can't breathe. And when they finally realize what's happening, when the silence becomes unbearable, they'll try to claw their way back in. They'll promise they've changed, that they understand now, that they're sorry. And maybe some of them will be. Maybe. But it doesn't matter, because you're no longer in the business of recycling pain. You're not here to reteach the lessons you bled for. You're not giving second chances to the people who wasted the first one. You're not making space at your table for the ones who left you starving. You're not explaining your peace to anyone who only showed up for your chaos. And maybe they'll say you're cold, heartless, unforgiving. Let them. You didn't get here by being soft. You got here by surviving every time they tried to kill your spirit. You got here by going silent when it would have been easier to scream. You got here by walking away from things you once prayed for. So no, you're not cold. You're precise. You're intentional. You're dangerous in a way they'll never understand. Because they only know how to fight with noise. They only know how to win by dragging you into arguments, into explanations, into proving your truth. But you don't do that anymore. You fight with results, with elevation, with absence. And nothing is scarier than a man who disappears in silence than returns in power. So stay quiet, stay distant, stay unpredictable. Let your silence speak the volumes your words never could. Let it echo through every space you've left behind. Let it haunt the ones who took you for granted. Let it speak for the pain you no longer perform. And when they finally understand what they lost, when it clicks that you're never coming back, not as you were, they'll want to talk. They'll want to fix it. They'll want closure. But you'll already be gone. Not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Your silence will have already buried what they're trying to resurrect. And you'll watch them beg for a response from a version of you that no longer exists. That is the silence that changes everything. That is your legacy. Speak it with your stillness.